What's up, everybody? It's your boy back with another reaction video, and I'll be reacting to 3 Nightmarish Zoom call horror stories. I think this is from Mr. Nightmare, if I'm not mistaken. But I'll put a link in the description. I've been meaning to say that in other ones, but I'll put a link in the description so you can go watch the video yourself. Go check their channel out. Show them some of they have really good narrations. Sometimes I just put their narrations on like when I'm getting ready to go to sleep, and I just listen to them, and then end up playing through like a bunch of their videos. Like my PlayStation cut off, and I turn it back on. Immediately, I go into YouTube. It immediately brings up. That's all. Like, yeah, it's still on that. But yeah. So Zoom calls. I just started using Zoom. Like, well, this year, because of the whole pandemic thing, but not for work or anything like that. But some of my friends when I lived in Florida, they want to do Zoom calls just to talk and see how everyone's doing and stuff like that. We've done that a few times, and that shit always it was pissing me off because I always came out on mute, and I didn't know at first how to turn that shit. So I'm like going through all the settings, and I don't see anything, and I was like, I hate this. I hate this shit. But I've heard people like have. I mean, I know. I think I read something about it's not that people can hack into other people's Zoom calls, and they've been putting up like hentai or some shit, or porn and stuff, and playing it in like Zoom. And because you can put, because a friend of mine when we was doing it, he would put like pictures up of shit that like, because he's a graphics designer, and he was artist like even when we were young in Florida, and he would draw different things, and he put up like different stuff like we make fun of or whatever when he was had to take the bus to the grocery store or whatever, or when we using his car until he had a car accident and messed up his car, and he had to drive the bus. He was like, "Oh, this is the worst." I was like, "Yeah, now you know how it feels to wait and get on this damn bus every day." But yeah, that's the only, I guess you could say, horror story, especially if you have a Zoom. If you initiate the meeting and your boss or something is on it, and somebody ends up hacking it and putting porn in there, like, even though it's not your fault, but still they will be like, why is there porn playing? Or I remember reading somebody had a Zoom call, and what happened? Like, they could, I think it was Zoom, they could see, it was a class, and they could see the professors like tabs that he had on the internet, the tabs that he had open, and one of them said like, I think it was like busty college girls or some shit, and the girls that was in on the call, they were like, professor, like, you I think he quit or lost his job here, or got fired or something like that. But I was like, that is hilarious. Like, you a professor at a college. I was like, what were you doing? Because I know it had to be, well, I don't know. It's college. It don't necessarily have to be early in the morning. But I like, you have a call. And like, I don't know, he must have had a good scene that because he left the tab open. And it was a busty college girl. It was something like busty college girl, busty co-eds, college co-eds or some shit like that. And I was like, and then you see his female students. I'm like, why do you have that open while you're doing this? I guess he didn't know that they could see his like whole screen or whatever, because when he was bringing it up. And I think it was Zoom. Camera was Zoom. Maybe it was some type of. I know when I'm like DePaul, they have where you can watch the videos, not in real time. You can watch them afterwards because they record the classes. So if you like miss class, you can watch it on there. Or some classes, some like you have online classes, they'll record another class and you can watch that class, and while you're online, if you're doing online courses only. But yeah, so we'll see what type of nightmarish horror stories they have for people doing Zoom calls. So, all right, here we go.
It was sometime in April, peak corona time in my state. Quarantining and lockdown were still in effect. There was nothing to do on Friday and Saturday nights besides Zoom calls with your friends. It was like a week after I finally hopped on the wave and agreed to jump on a Zoom call with my 4 friends, Ashley, Haley, Sylvia,
I think that was the
Alexa.
first time I did Zoom call.
It
My
was a
friends like
Friday
in
night,
April.
and it was supposed to be our little Zoom drinking party. We were going to be playing drinking games and just staying up until the early hours of the morning. Ashley shared the link to join the Zoom call in our iMessage group chat. We joined one at a time. First Ashley, then me, then Haley and Sylvia. It seemed they were all on their laptops. I was the only one on my phone.
Yeah,
so
all
I
my
switched
friends
to
are
my
all on
laptop
their
as well.
laptops, and I was the
It
only
took
one
a
on my
little while for
phone.
Alexa to finally join, but when she joined, her screen was black. We all joked around, chanting Alexa's name and whatever, asking her what's up with her webcam. She started typing into the text chat of the Zoom call, saying she didn't know what was wrong with her webcam and microphone, that it said both were offline. We continued to joke around about it, but also tried helping her, though we didn't really know how to be of much assistance.
Is it
with that.
actually her?
Eventually she typed in the chat, "BRB, I'm gonna go try to figure this out." So we all went on to our drinking
Okay,
and
maybe
just
it is
chatting
her.
on our video chat, while we figured Alexa was doing whatever to try to fix her computer. But something randomly happened sometime into our call. Something completely unexpected that kind of scarred all of us. Alexa's cam suddenly started working, and her box went from black to showing an old creepy man doing something I really don't want to repeat. When he noticed the camera turned on, he jumped to close the laptop, and the screen went dark again. The 4 of us screamed and started freaking out.
The fuck?
We tried calling Alexa, but now it seemed her phone was off. We didn't have her mom or sister's number, so we all agreed to drive over to Alexa's place to see what was going on. Her mom answered the door in her robe, looking concerned. We asked her if Alexa was home. She said yes and called her down. Alexa never responded, though. Her mother said she had just gotten home an hour ago, but that Alexa's door was locked half an hour earlier. We all explained what happened on the Zoom call, and she freaked out and ran upstairs to bang on Alexa's door. That got no answers. We all got a sickly feeling when we realized what could be going on. Alexa's mom called the cops that second, and when Officer Perry showed up, we told him everything. He called for backup and went upstairs to knock on the door and tried to reason with whoever could be in there. When there was no response, he began to kick the door down. When he finally broke through the door, there was no one on the bed. The laptop and phone were left on the bed, but no one was in the room. The window was wide open, enough for someone to crawl through and hop outside down to the awning roof below. We all found Alexa in the basement minutes later. She was hiding under a blanket in the corner of the room. She said when she was home alone, she saw some older man with a big knife sticking out of his pocket in the living room.
Shit.
So she snuck down to the basement and hid. She didn't know when it was safe to come out of hiding, as she couldn't hear her mother getting home. Police backup finally showed up, and the information of the break-in and the man was sent to the local news outlets to alert people to be on the lookout. It's crazy how that Zoom call might have saved Alexa and her mother's lives.
Shit, that was scary. That was
A few weeks
scary.
ago, my friends and I decided to hold a Zoom reunion, as we had not seen each other for
I've
quite
seen
some
people
time.
doing it during
All of us
the
finally
high
had
school
the time to
reunion
chat
stuff
since it
on
was
Zoom.
lockdown in our country. We're all college students, and most of us have
Why does
lost
everyone
contact
always
with
drink?
each other.
Even when I did
So we
Zoom call, I
decided
was
to post on our
drinking for
social
some
media
reason.
that we would be holding a Zoom reunion, which was open to all the alumni of our old school. We got responses from many people, and we even accepted people we didn't know as long as they knew our mutual friends. We wanted it to be a big social event and didn't really care who joined. Finally, the day of the reunion arrived. I scheduled a meeting and posted it on my Instagram story because there were too many people to individually text, which I now realize was a big mistake because I had basically given everyone access to join the Zoom call. The Zoom meeting began normally, with all of us excited to meet our old friends. We made some new friends through our mutual friends, and we were having a grand time, when someone called Sat_Ann_20 unmuted their mic and started making groaning sounds. We had a friend named Ann, so we thought it was just her pranking us. We texted her to stop because it was getting annoying, but to our surprise she texted back apologizing because she hadn't attended the call due to prior engagements. We were surprised and asked this Ann person to open their video and show us their face or they would be removed from the meeting. They didn't show their face, so I removed them from the meeting. The Zoom call resumed and we were all joking about the incident. Suddenly, my network strength became weak and I had to leave the meeting. I joined back soon after, but SatAn20 had somehow taken the opportunity and re-entered the meeting in the few seconds that we unlocked it. This time they began to share their screen and displayed a video of a black tunnel on loop. We were terrified and a lot of people were leaving the meeting because of it, but my friends and I were determined to find the person who was destroying our reunion. We constantly tried to remove them from the meeting.
Asshole.
But the second my friend's network connection weakened, somehow the SatAn20 person became the host.
Oh.
There was nothing we could do now. The account was still playing the video on loop and chanting something in a strange language.
Just leave. Everyone just leave.
But really wanted to know who was disrupting it.
Curiosity
Suddenly,
killed the
video
cat.
stopped, and SatAn20 started talking in a distorted voice about how my brother Rav had completed the ritual and attained salvation, and we could take their help and do the same too.
I'd be like, fuck your brother.
Here's the thing. I had a twin brother who died before birth. My parents had wanted to name him Rav. They told me when I was very young about his prenatal death and begged me to never talk about him. Only my grandparents and parents knew about him, as the subject was too painful to disclose to others. I had always wanted I was certain that the only people who knew about my brother in the city were my parents. I had not told even my best friends about him. I had no idea how this SatAn20 person knew about him. They truly had no way of knowing that I knew about. With shaking hands, and now without a doubt convinced that this was a supernatural occurrence, I wordlessly exited the meeting. I do not know what happened afterwards. I didn't respond to my friends' texts and have since not talked to them. To this day, I know this is an experience I will not soon forget.
You just cut everybody off. You cut off. Why did I think that was the third one? Damn, I can't count.
In April of this year, my school had made a virtual classroom thing where we would do all of our assignments online on websites like Google Classroom and whatnot. They also told us about a new tool called Zoom, where students and teachers can all have a virtual meeting to talk about schoolwork and stuff. Well, one day in May, after I finished my assignments, my dad went out on a night shift at his job. So it was only my mom and I, and my mom was asleep. I called my friends, and we all agreed to try a Zoom call out with each other to catch up on how everyone has been, and it also eventually ended with us playing some console games like Call of Duty. At one point, around 10 p.m., we were playing Modern Warfare, and all of a sudden, one of my friends, who I'll call Jack for privacy reasons, suddenly told me that he saw a very sudden blurred movement behind me in my room, but he wasn't sure because my lights were off, and the only light was from the TV in my room. I have a somewhat small room with only my bed, a drawer next to my bed, a closet in the left corner of the room, and my TV in the front. That's when I noticed that my pillow was on the floor. I went over to pick it up, and I just dismissed it, thinking it accidentally fell or something. So I just went back to play with my friends. About 10 minutes passed by, and Jack once again says he swears he sees movement behind me in my room. When I turned around, I saw that the pillow had fallen again in the exact same spot. This time I became anxious because I knew 100% I put the pillow in a place that it couldn't possibly fall without someone or something moving it. I bend down slowly to pick it up, and then I hear Jack scream. I put the pillow on the bed and rush over to my laptop sitting on my chair to ask him what was wrong. All he said was to look under my bed, and I saw it. I saw two glowing eyes which were lit up by the TV screen. Once the person realized that I saw them, they immediately jumped out and tried to grab me. I instinctively swung my arm at their head, and I hit him right in the nose.
Oh, nice.
He looked to be at least 45 and had long, dry, straight hair that looked like it hadn't been cut or washed in at least a year.
Yeah.
He had a scratchy
Nasty
looking beard and was a
motherfucker.
very skinny but tall guy. He looked to be about 6'3". He fell onto my bed and I could see his nose was bleeding, so I took my chance and ran to my mom's room and locked the door. I could hear his footsteps stomping through the house coming towards the room, so I immediately told my mom to call the police despite her groggily shouting at me to tell her what was happening. She
They
told
called the
cops,
police,
and by
bitch.
then I could hear his footsteps as he was going from room to room to find where I went.
Oh, this dude.
When he came to the room we were in, he tried the handle, and when he saw it was locked, he knew we were in the room. But he didn't bang on the door like I thought he would. Instead, I heard a small chuckle, and then I looked under the little
Okay, it
crack
sounds
under
like
the
this dude
door,
got
and I could see
mental
his feet
illness or some
standing
shit.
there. As soon as I looked under, he looked through the crack as well, and I could see his bloodshot eye. I also saw a couple
he's
drops
high
of blood
as
on the
fuck.
floor, and then on the other side of the door, I heard "You'll pay for that" in a psychotic, high-pitched, childish voice. When I backed away, he screamed like a madman and started banging on the door over and over. I started covering my ears, trying to shut the sound out, and I could see my mom crying. Just then, we hear the sirens outside, but the man doesn't stop banging and shouting.
Oh, he definitely
The
crazy.
police knock on
He
the
got
door,
some
and when they
mental
hear the
problem.
man, they immediately knock the door down and come in, literally like something from a movie. I heard the man stop, and I thought the police already got him. When I opened the door, I saw the man facing the two officers, looking like he was going to attack them. When he stepped towards them, one of them shot a taser at him, and he immediately fell and started shaking violently. They cuffed him and took him out to the car, and a third officer came to question me and my mom. I told him the whole story, and then the three officers started searching for the place of breaking and entering, and it turned out that he had broken in through the window in my dad's office room, and they found a small axe and drill under my bed in my room.
Whoa.
We later found out this man wasn't documented, and no one knew who he was, and he didn't appear to
Axe
have
and
any family.
drill?
He was sent to a mental institution, but
Yeah,
that's
he's
not the worst
definitely
part.
crazy.
The police later tried to find out where the man originally lived, and all the man told them was that he lived in the woods near my home. When the police went searching for his home for any evidence, they found a small secluded area in the woods with a small wooden shack. When they went in, they told us that they found multiple weapons, bags of old food, and worst of all, 2 pictures of me, one of me asleep, which was taken from inside the house outside my bedroom door, and one of me eating dinner from outside the window. I hope nothing like this ever happens.
He been
to
planning
anyone,
this shit.
and I hope no one else has to add another bad memory to the long list from this
Sound
terrible
like
year.
some shit that'll be on Criminal Minds. Underneath the bed with an axe and a power drill. Like, what the fuck? Now you live in the woods. So what the fuck you doing with a power drill? Oh, I was about to stop anyway. Like that is crazy. Like that would definitely scar me if I looked underneath my bed. Like my bed is there's no room for a human. I've never had a bed that had enough space for a grown adult. Maybe like a small child could get under there, not comfortably, but you can get under there. My grandmother, she had like well, she still has that bed actually. Well, she still has a frame. It's a different mattress on it, of course, but she has like her bed's like probably about maybe a little bit over a foot off the ground, of like at the bottom of the bed to the ground, probably maybe a little bit over a foot. That's the only bed I've ever slept in that had that much space. I remember we used to crawl in there when we were kids, and my big ass and I still couldn't get even with that much space. But I've never had other than that, I've never, like, my bed in my house or apartment where I never had that much space. It was always low to the ground. Either we had a box spring on the floor with a mattress, or if we had the frame, it was maybe 8 inches off the ground, but that it was never like that much space where somebody could hide under, much less have a bunch of fucking weapons under there with them. They definitely couldn't do it comfortably. But yeah, that would be terrifying. And it's like because it's like, why you keep pulling the pillow off the bed? That was weird. Like, you would think he would just come from under and then just hit him in the head with it. I don't know what he was doing. Maybe he was building up the courage to do something. I don't know. But yeah, that was creepy. And then the other one with the old man. The camera just cuts on and this old dude looking into the camera. He's, oh shit. He's there with a knife. Like he must have some mental problem as well. Cause she said went downstairs and saw that some old dude, or she went in the house and saw some old dude with a knife. Or she's in the living room or some shit. So like that's insane. Like I've ever since I've started watching these videos like this. I mean, I've seen videos way before I started doing reaction to them, like these horror narrations or whatever. Or hell, even like horror movies. When I was a kid, I would always have to look in closets and check stuff. I remember I was like a kid. I would get a kitchen knife and open like the closet because I was definitely afraid of the dark and like lightning storms when I was real young. And I used to, anytime walking in a room and it was dark and I hadn't been in that room, I would have to go get a knife and go. I remember my dad, he said, well, because I didn't take the knife back into the kitchen. He said, why is there a knife in here? Because I had the knife sitting on a nightstand. And because my dad was, especially around that time, he was real adamant about not eating in the rooms. Because he's like, we only trying to get roaches in there because we were kid. Well, I was a kid. And he was like, you're not going to get a bunch of crumbs on the floor. So he's like, eat at the dining room table. But yeah, I used to be terrified. I look under the bed, even though I knew there's no way anyone could fit under there. I still looked under there anyway. I was that scared. But yeah, that was creepy. Those are really creepy, and it is always the ones that are creepy where if you on a video chat or something like that, or even if you're not on that. Like, let's go old school with it, where I remember I was a kid. I was sitting watching TV, and at one point it was a commercial come on. A commercial, it came on and it went off. And sometimes when they start to have it, when it goes like you watch something that go to commercial or come back from commercial, it'll be like a pause and your screen will be black. That happened, and my brother just happened to walk into the living room at that moment. And he wasn't like standing there like looking at TV. He just walked in at that moment, right as his screen went blank. And I noticed something move behind me. I literally, but I almost jumped out of my skin. Like, I jumped up and I just threw the remote and hit the wall. I remember, like, what the hell is wrong with you? So it was just me and him there. Because he had I think he was getting ready to go to work or something. He was walking into the kitchen on the hallway, but you had to walk past the living room because the kitchen and the living room were basically in the same room. But they were like, one had carpet and the other one was tile, but it was an apartment. But yeah, that scared. I remember that because that scared the piss. I remember we was in Marinette Park at the time. That scared the shit out of me. Like, just at that moment, he was walking back. I got so scared. I wasn't even watching anything scary, and it wasn't dark. It was daytime, and I don't know. I don't know what day it was. I don't even know if it was like a school day or all I know is daytime. And I was watching TV, so I'm assuming if I was in the living room, it probably neither one of my parents were there, and I was probably because I watched TV in the living room. It's probably it might have been a weekend or something, but well, hell, it could have been summer. But yeah, that terrified me. Like, and just to think, like, if somebody's on the, if I'm looking at and I'm like something moving behind you, if you're on like a Zoom call or FaceTiming or whatever, and you're like, is that something moving behind you? And you're like, no, are you by yourself? Like me, the first time somebody says, if I'm on a Zoom call with somebody or FaceTime, whatever, and somebody says, is something behind you or something moving behind you? There is no way in hell I'm gonna be like, I'm just gonna ignore it. Or something like what this kid did. He just picked up the pillow and put it back on the bed. Like, no. I'm be like, I'm like, hold on. First thing, I'm turning on the lights. Next thing, I'm grabbing my knife because I've had a knife on my like nightstand or dresser since shit. I was 15. Uh, I had like a foldable knife. I always had a knife on my nightstand, and then I got knives. I got nightstand. Now I've always had like a knife or something on my knife, or a pair of scissors or something, to cut whatever on my nightstand. So there's always something there, that I can use as a weapon. And I got right now. I got a knife. I got a retractable baton beside me. I had throwing knives in my drawer that I can just pull out and grab. I got shurikens in there too. My sword is over there, and it's dull, but if you swing it with enough force, you can cut something off. It won't be pretty, it won't be smooth, but it'll come off. Like hitting somebody with a dull axe. But yeah, I've always had, ever since then, I've always had like weapons, and it's not like really intentional. Like not like my dad has a damn loaded gun like behind his pillow. Like I was like, if you got arthritis, his fingers are always like this. Like if you accidentally like reach back and your fingers are always like you better pull a trigger or something, and you accidentally reach back and pull the trigger on that damn gun. Like don't sleep with it behind your head like that. Like what are you worried about? You got an alarm system. You live in a nice neighborhood. And like why you got a loaded I think it's a 9mm behind his head, and then a loaded shotgun in the corner of the room, and a loaded 30-30 Winchester in the closet. I was like, why is everything loaded? I went there to visit. I said, why you? Because I you had that shotgun for the longest. I know that you had 12 gauge. Like, why is everything like you? I can see maybe you having one or two bullets. Like, why you have it loaded? I think 7 bullets can go in that 12 gauge, but I was like, why is this? I think it's like 7, 1 in the chamber, and then 6. But anyway, I was like, why you got that? Like, but I mean, I guess I don't know, but yeah. So anyway, hope y'all enjoyed my reaction. When if you did, make sure you hit that thumbs up button down below. Sure, subscribe if you're new here. Hit that bell. You'll be notified when I upload new videos. Comment down below. Share this video. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.